to him who lives forever and ever. O thou who art from everlasting to everlasting, eternally and unchangeably the same, even the God who rules in the heavens above and controls the destinies of men on the earth, wilt thou not condescend through thine infinite goodness and royal favor to listen to the prayer of thy servant, which he this day offers up unto thee in the name of thy holy child Jesus, upon this land where the Son of Righteousness, set in blood, and thine anointed one expired. Be pleased, O Lord, to forgive all the follies, weaknesses, vanities, and sins of thy servant, and strengthen him to resist all future temptations. Give him prudence and discernment that he may avoid the evil, and a heart to choose the good. Give him fortitude to bear up under trying and adverse circumstances, and grace to endure all things for thy name's sake, until the end shall come, when the saints shall rest in peace. Now, O Lord, thy servant has been obedient to the heavenly vision which thou gavest him in his native land, and under the shadow of thine outstretched arm he has safely arrived in this place to dedicate and consecrate this land unto thee, for the gathering together of Judah's scattered remnants, according to the predictions of the holy prophets, for building up of Jerusalem again, after it has been trodden down by the Gentiles so long, and for rearing a temple in honor of thy name. Everlasting thanks be ascribed unto thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast preserved thy servant from the dangers of the seas, from the plague and the pestilence which have caused the land to mourn. The violence of man has also been restrained, and thy providential care by night and by day has been exercised over thine unworthy servant. Accept therefore, O Lord, the tribute of a grateful heart for all past favors, and be pleased to continue thy kindness and mercy towards a needy worm of the dust. Thou who didst covenant with Abraham thy friend, and who didst renew that covenant with Isaac, and confirm the same with Jacob with an oath, that thou wouldst not only give them this land for an everlasting inheritance, but that thou would also remember their seed forever. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob have long since closed their eyes in death, and made the grave their mansion. Their children are scattered and dispersed abroad among the nations of the Gentiles, like sheep that have no shepherd, and are still looking forward for the fulfillment of those promises which thou didst make concerning them, and even this land, which once poured forth nature's richest bounty, and flowed, as it were, with milk and honey. It has, to a certain extent, been smitten with barrenness and sterility, since it drank from the murderous hands the blood of him who never sinned. Grant therefore, O Lord, in the name of thy well-beloved Son, Jesus Christ, to remove the barrenness and sterility of this land. Let springs of living water break forth to water its thirsty soil. Let the vine and the olive produce in their strength, and the fig tree bloom and flourish. Let the land become abundantly fruitful when inhabited or possessed by its rightful heirs. Let it again flow with plenty, to feed the returning prodigals who come home with a spirit of grace and supplication. Upon it let the clouds distill virtue and richness. Let the fields smile with plenty. Let the flocks and the herds greatly increase, and multiply upon the mountains and the hills. And let thy great kindness conquer and subdue the unbelief of thy people. Do thou take from them their stony heart, and give them a heart of flesh. May the sun of thy favor dispel the cold mists of darkness, which have beclouded their atmosphere. Incline them to gather in upon this land according to thy word. Let them come like clouds and like doves to their windows. Let the large ships of the nations bring them from the distant isles, and let kings become their nursing fathers, and queens with motherly fondness wipe the tear of sorrow from their eye. Thou, O Lord, did once move upon the heart of Cyrus, to show favor to Jerusalem and her children. do thou now be pleased to inspire the hearts of kings and the powers of the earth to look with a friendly eye towards this place, and with a desire to see thy righteous purposes executed in relation thereto. Let them know that it is thy good pleasure to restore the kingdom unto Israel, raise up Jerusalem as its capital, and constitute her people a distinct nation and government, with David thy servant, even a descendant from the loins of ancient David, to be their king. Let that nation or that people who shall take an active part in behalf of Abraham's children and in raising up of Jerusalem find favor in thy sight. Let not their enemies prevail against them, neither let pestilence or famine overcome them, but let the glory of Israel overshadow them, and the power of the highest protect them, while that nation or kingdom that will not serve thee in this glorious work must perish, according to thy word. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Though thy servant is not far from his home, and from the land bedewed with his earliest tears, yet he remembers, O Lord, his friends who are there, and family, whom for thy sake he has left. Though poverty and privation be our earthly lot, yet do thou richly endow us with an inheritance where moth and rust do not corrupt, where thieves do not break through and steal. The hands that have fed or shown favor unto the family of thy servant in his absence, or that shall hereafter do so, let them not lose their reward, but let a special blessing rest upon them, and in thy kingdom let them have an inheritance, and thou shalt come to be glorified in this society. Do thou also look with favor upon all those through whose liberality I have been enabled to come to this land. And in the day when thou shalt reward all people according to their works, let these also not be passed by or forgotten, but in time let them be in readiness to enjoy the glory of those mansions which Jesus has gone to prepare. Particularly, do thou bless the stranger in Philadelphia, whom I never saw, but who sent me gold, with a request that I should pray for him in Jerusalem. Now, O Lord, let blessings come upon him from an unexpected quarter, and let his basket be filled, and his storehouse abound with plenty. And let not the good things of the earth be his only portion. Boy, those prophecies came true. One day, sister sitting there, tears rolling down her cheeks, and she said, I need to say something. She got up and said, my name is Wilma Beck. I'm a convert to about 13 years in the church. Recently, I've been doing family history. I found a journal of an old great-grandfather in Philadelphia who wrote, today I sent a bag of gold to a man going to Jerusalem and asked him to pray for me.
We found him.
A year or two later, of course I've told the story over and over again, someone got up and said, got a copy of it, pulled it out and read. His family has come into the church.
Blessed.
Yep, and I think I got a little brain cramp. I think his name was John Beck, but in any case, he attempted to do something without knowing, without being known, and that's probably the highest form of charity